Imagine it's the late 1990s. You're working in a corporate office, staring at one of these heavy, beige desktop terminals. If a customer calls to place an urgent order, you type it into your sales software. But because your system can't communicate with the shipping department system, you have to print the order out and physically walk it down the hall to the warehouse. Business applications were completely disconnected, siloed, and intensely frustrating to use. Buying this software was an enormous undertaking. Companies had to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in upfront licensing fees. Then they had to buy massive on-premise servers to run it and hire armies of IT consultants who spent months getting it to work. Small businesses were entirely priced out, leaving these tools exclusively in the hands of massive corporations. Very few people understood this system better than Marc Benioff. By age 27, he had become the youngest vice president in the history of Oracle, the dominant database management company of the era. He knew exactly how profitable the traditional enterprise software model was, but saw firsthand how broken it was for the people trying to use it. By 1996, despite his massive financial success, Benioff was frustrated and unfulfilled. He took a sabbatical, eventually traveling to Hawaii to step away from the tech industry and figure out what he wanted to do next. While swimming with dolphins, he had a realization. The consumer internet was starting to take off, proving that complex data could be sent reliably over the web. Benioff asked a simple question: why do businesses have to buy physical servers and install software on their own hard drives? Why couldn't software be delivered exactly like water or electricity, as a utility you just plug into over the internet? He called this idea software as a service, or SaaS. Instead of purchasing an expensive product that required dedicated IT teams to maintain, businesses could simply log into a web browser and pay a monthly subscription fee. To make this utility model a reality, Benioff left his lucrative, secure position at Oracle. Building a system that was accessible to small businesses required walking away from the exact corporate structure that had made him a millionaire. Benioff and his 3 co-founders launched Salesforce in 1999, operating out of a one-bedroom apartment in San Francisco. They were a tiny operation attempting to steal market share from multi-billion-dollar corporate titans like Oracle and Siebel Systems. Competing on features alone was a losing battle. Because their early web-based tool couldn't match the deep customization of legacy systems, Salesforce shifted to conversation entirely. They began reframing traditional software ownership, the expensive installations, the physical servers, and the constant maintenance, as a burden rather than an asset. They launched an aggressive guerrilla marketing campaign centered entirely on the phrase "no software." They hired actors to stage mock protests outside competitor conferences, waving signs and demanding an end to traditional installations. They forced customers to choose a side. Behind this bold messaging was a deeply complex technological architecture that made their cloud-based promises possible. It was a concept called multi-tenancy. Here is how multi-tenancy works. Instead of writing custom code for every single client and installing it on private servers, instead, Salesforce housed multiple clients on one shared internet application. Salesforce could push a single update from their central hub, instantly updating thousands of customers. Look at this cost comparison. By sharing infrastructure costs, the towering expense of maintaining physical servers completely collapses. A small business could suddenly access the same powerful data tools as a Fortune 500 company for a monthly fee roughly equal to their office supply budget. But in 2001, the dot-com bubble burst, the tech stock market crashed, and many of Salesforce's startup clients went out of business overnight. Because Salesforce relied on month-to-month subscriptions rather than massive upfront licensing fees, the company found itself bleeding over $1 million every single month. Facing bankruptcy, board member Magdalena Yessel proposed a strict pivot. They would ask customers to sign annual contracts and pay up front. It was a massive risk that contradicted their flexible pay-as-you-go marketing. But when requested, over 50% of their clients immediately agreed to the new terms. The customers agreed because the tool actually worked and saved them money. An aggressive marketing campaign can get people through the door, but a company only survives an economic collapse if the underlying technology delivers undeniable, practical value to the people using it. By 2003, Salesforce had stabilized, but long-term survival required moving beyond a single product. During a pivotal meeting, Steve Jobs advised Benioff to transform Salesforce into a foundational platform for an entire ecosystem of cloud-based software. Following Jobs' advice, Salesforce built a development environment and launched the App Exchange. Rather than trying to anticipate and code every specific feature their diverse clients might want, they opened their digital doors, allowing third-party developers to build and sell custom solutions directly on top of Salesforce's core foundation. This visualization maps out what mathematicians call a network effect. As the central Salesforce hub gained more third-party applications, it attracted more customers. Those new customers attracted more developers, who built even more apps. Once a business spent years customizing their workflows with these interconnected tools, the financial and logistical cost of switching became almost unimaginably high. Having a great singular product creates a successful business. But building a foundational platform that other developers heavily invest in expanding creates a competitive moat that rivals cannot cross. As Salesforce expanded globally, they faced the ultimate scaling problem. They had started as a scrappy, rebellious group of engineers trying to tear down legacy software giants. Now, with thousands of employees around the world, they risked becoming the exact rigid corporate titan they originally set out to destroy. To prevent this, they structurally embedded their values into the business model through the 1-1-1 philanthropy model. From the beginning, Salesforce committed to donating 1% of its equity, 1% of its product to nonprofits, and giving employees 1% of their time, 6 paid days a year, to volunteer. To keep their growing global workforce aligned, Benioff created a management framework called V2MOM: Vision, Values, Methods, Obstacles, and Measures. Every single employee, from executives to new hires, creates a personalized V2MOM document that ties their daily tasks directly to the company's core priorities, ensuring the original culture survives even as they open offices across different continents. Today, the cloud computing revolution Benioff envisioned is the global standard, but the technology landscape has shifted again. Salesforce now faces artificial intelligence, a disruption that threatens to rewrite the rules of enterprise software just as thoroughly as the Internet did in 1999. In response, Salesforce is transitioning into a digital labor platform. They are deploying autonomous AI agents designed to handle routine business operations without human instruction. Recently, the company eliminated thousands of customer support jobs in favor of these AI systems, while simultaneously hiring more human salespeople to manage face-to-face relationships. When Marc Benioff looked at the enterprise software market in 1996, he didn't try to make physical server installations a little bit faster or licensing fees a little bit cheaper. He identified the heaviest burdens of the industry, refused to accept them as normal, and built an entirely new system from scratch.